Not to be like the world, and not to be like the great majority of American Christians, but to be like Jesus Christ. I don't know why you're clapping. I'm talking about you.
What's wrong with you people? I'm serious.
You can't say amen, you ought to say ouch.
Hello, humblebees. Welcome to Tulips and Honey.
Hey, we're officially recording. Okay, go. Hi, humblebees. It's me, Lauren, from Tulips and Honey. That's not what I usually say. Nope. No.
Hey, y'all.
Hi, humblebees. I'm back with why? I just don't even know. I can't remember. I can't remember our intro.
You want me to?
Can you do it? I'm sorry.
I don't even know if I can do it. Yeah, we suck this week. The last couple.
What's going on?
I know. Let's just keep this in. Let's keep rolling.
Okay.
Hey, humblebees. Welcome to our episode where we have been sucking at life and everything social media. And it's a new year. We suck and I love it. I texted Lauren. I was like, we suck and I love it. I wouldn't have this any other way. I wouldn't trade this for all the world. Us learning how to do stuff.
At least we're learning together. So that helps. Yeah.
Yes. And Lauren got me this really cute mug. I'd rather be podcasting. Aww. And we're checking to see if this is coming on correctly because Becca doesn't know how to mirror and not mirror things.
I have no idea how that works, but if you can't tell, it does say I'd rather be podcasting, which is what you're doing right now. So it's pretty cool.
Yes. I have that with my coffee every day. She said, and he sent me the shirts, which I'm trying to wear. That's why I got the lighting, because the shirts they're making me disappear. Anything light in color.
Yeah. That's so great. Oh, well,
but I love them.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year. That's where we're at now. New Year. Which is why Becca has fireworks on the back of her screen.
Yes, fireworks. That's what my sister does. She goes.
I like that.
Like, and she'll do it. Well, she will be driving, and like the part of the song that she likes, she'll just be like.
I think we need a video of that.
I know, right?
Video, or it didn't happen. So,
right.
What do you think, before we get started, like into any serious topics, what do you think is going to be the big thing this year? Like, I feel like selfies were a big thing at one point.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's going to be TikTok. I think it's going to be quick videos.
I don't approve of TikTok.
Which is us. Yes.
So.
And stories. That seems like what Facebook and Instagram, and that would be my guess. What do you think there's some trends in the Christian world? Do you think there's some trends like social justice seems to be?
I hope that's not one. I think that what we're going to see this year is going to be just like that exact same, only just as aggressive. That they're going to pick something different, because it seems like each time, each year there's something new. Like we talk about complementarianism. You got to talk about social justice and things like that. So I'm thinking that this year they'll find some other issue to be offended about, and there'll be clashes in that way. So
I'm curious now, what is that issue going to be? But yeah, something kind of social justice-y.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, something political. Trend. Are you excited that 2019 is over?
Yeah, I feel like 2020 is going to be easier to remember.
Yes. I know. Now we can say we're in the 20s.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
That is weird. Like when I hear the 20s, I think of the Roaring 20s. Like
yeah, me too.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, because really, when you say the 2000s, it's like really weird. And then people were saying 2010s for the last decade, I guess. But it never really stuck. But now we're going to be like, welcome to the 20s.
I like that. That's a good point.
Interesting. Yeah, if you were born in the 80s, you've been through 4 decades, 2 centuries, and I forget what else. Isn't that interesting?
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I like that. That is neat. Okay, yeah. What about you? Are you glad 2020 or 2019 is over?
Yes, but 2019 was so much fun. Like, we have so many great, like, things that have happened, some awesome shout-outs.
Yes. Oh, I'm excited with the shout outs. Let's totally get that.
Yes.
In case you didn't know, Humblebees, this episode is just about like the New Year's, like a New Year's special kind of thing. Even though I'm not really a big fan of this holiday, we're still, because we love you. And because I love Becca, we're still going to do.
It's just for me. No, but we have like upcoming stuff that we were like, that's really awesome that coming up. And great things to share about 2019 that have happened.
Yeah, I think so. Like, for starters, we've got to meet all of our Humblebees, which is really, really cool. So,
yes.
Thing for 2019. See, 2019 just doesn't sound right. 2020 sounds good.
It does. Yeah, it already rolls off your tongue easier. 2020. Yeah, I was seeing something last night. I was, Dick Clark's, rocking New Year's Eve where the ball falls down. Well, now the tagline was like bigger. It's like Dick Clark's rocking Eve with Ryan Seacrest. And I'm like, well, what's going to happen when Ryan Seacrest passes away? Like, they're just going to keep adding to it. I don't know. That's just what my mind.
That would be really weird.
Yeah, that would be weird, right? But they had Barbara Walter like saying the year 20 or just the show 2020, like all through from start to like recently, and I was like, oh my gosh.
I love that. Actually, Justin told me like last month, he was like, if they don't have Barbara Walter do this, then they just don't know anything. And I was like, I didn't even watch the ball drop. I think I probably should have at least turned it on to see a little bit of something, but I didn't. I forgot until like 10:30. That's whenever I texted you. I was like, oh, hey, by the way, Happy New Year. Probably going to fall asleep.
Yeah, I was just like texting friends and texting Lauren. Lauren and I were texting about today's episode. And that's kind of it. I mean, I was just kind of working on memes and such. Like, it wasn't like a hangout thing.
Yeah.
I
think maybe once or twice in my entire life, New Year's Eve has been like a big party that I was involved in. But most of the time, it's just an arbitrary day. It's picked up.
Isn't it I was hearing something like it's the biggest, it's the day of the year of the worst, like DUIs, like the most DUIs and the worst DUI accidents. And like, it's true though. Sorry, I'm like Debbie Downer. I'm like,
I know, but I don't. That's why we don't ever leave the house on New Year's either. Like we don't ever go anywhere on New Year's Eve. Our store's closed today. Like today is actually the first. I mean, whenever we publish this it'll be the second. But
I don't know. I wonder if some places of business have like certain hours or that they're not working. Some places, I think schools are out, but like retail places, I'm sure Target and them are like hardcore hitting up with the lose weight.
Yes. Oh, I hate that. They've already got the bathing suits out here.
I know. Yeah.
It's like 5 degrees outside. Why would you have bathing suits out here?
Yes. It's the first thing you see when you walk in Target. It's like bathing suits. 2 pieces too. Where you're just like,
nope.
Who's swimming? I mean, even in Arizona, no one's really swimming unless you have a heated pool.
I guess you don't really need a heated pool there for very long.
For very long. Yeah, you probably won't need that switch for a while. That button.
What is your spring like there? Like, does it warm up? Spring.
So right now it's like fall. So places are actually like their leaves are changing color. So it's like fall for like just a little bit. Winter. Really don't. So spring, I don't know. It's weird. Remember I was showing you a couple months ago, like some flowers were blooming.
Yeah.
And that was technically fall. So like we don't get the real true spring. I think we get more fruit and stuff kind of coming out.
Okay.
But then it just starts getting hot. Like it just gets hotter. It gets itself. It just gets hotter, and then it turns into hell.
And then it turns into hell. Then the entire state catches on fire.
You have to walk in. You go from your house, your AC to your AC vehicle to an AC location. You run as fast as you can so your flip-flops don't burn.
That's so bad. Oh my goodness. That's how it is here, but with the colds. You're going from the heat, except for our weird random house that is air conditioned right now, even though it's going to be 37 here today though. So that's pretty nice, actually.
That is nice. Yeah. That is nice.
it's not burning my face when I go outside. It's nice weather. We might even go out and play in the snow, maybe.
Yes, take photos.
Maybe.
Snowman, snow angels.
The snow's all kind of gross now. Okay. Well, we have really cool shout outs, though, if I would stop distracting Becca. Sorry. But like you said at the beginning, like, this has been a really rough week. And so we kind of suck at life right now. But we can focus because Becca's awesome and she made us an outline. So we have shout outs.
We do.
First, you have a really great one.
So I'm actually going, it's with my church. We're doing this women's teaching through Phoenix Seminary. Starting in January, and it's once a month. It's just one night, but we have homework. We have books to read. I know I was texting Lauren. I was like, oh my gosh, I have, what did you say, that one phrase? You're like out of the fire or out of the oven into the fire. Like,
oh yeah, I couldn't remember what it was actually. I was like, what is it? Out of the stove into the frying pan? But I don't think that's it. But yeah, I was like, you just got done with school. Now you
just got done with school. And now I have homework. And then Lauren and I have so many books to read too.
Oh, we do. We do.
So I have school all over again. And it's for an entire year. I was able to, Lo is also she lives in Arizona. She's another podcaster with us, the Chuck and Lo show. And I had messaged her about it if she was interested in coming, and she wasn't sure about the finances for it. So I was like, okay, we got to find out. So I'm trying to call people. It's also connected with the Gospel Coalition. So I was able to get in contact with Nancy, and she helped us. She got a spot for Lo for a scholarship. And I just thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yay.
You're so that's so wonderful.
Yes.
It's just such a blessing that I was thinking about this the other day, and this is another rabbit hole, but oh well. So we have an expression, I think, a part of just, I don't know, cynical sort of talk, where we would say, like, you can't count on anyone, so make sure you can take care of yourself. And I was thinking about that, like, if that's true in the church, we've got a big problem,
right?
Because we should actually be able to lean on one another and count on one another, and not to the point where we would be like, Paul actually addresses this. There's just like, I'm hearing that people are just not working, and they just coming for the free stuff and then not working. So we don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the ability to, like, let's say you're, I don't know, an amazing, wonderful co-host of a podcast. You're super funny and you can make really great graphics, but maybe for like medical reasons, you shouldn't be mowing a lawn. You don't have any grass in your lawn,
right?
But let's take another co-host that's maybe not funny and not good at graphics, but can mow a lawn. So like our first co-host, this is convoluted. You could make, graphics for the other co-host that's not good at that, and then the other co-host could mow a lawn if you had any grass. I've lost it. Yeah.
We all have gifts.
Yes.
And you're so awesome, Lauren. Lauren is amazing. Like, she does everything. And she's been holding down the fort of the podcast and the blog and everything while I've been in school.
Oh.
She is amazing. Seriously. Thank you so much. Like, she's great at what's it called? Like, I only want to call you like, you're like an anchor woman. I texted her, I was like, please don't like email us. But I was like, she's like the next Oprah. Like, she asks those really good questions and helps the audience, like, wrap up and retain information as they're going along. And she's so good at that.
You're so sweet. Wonderful. Oh my goodness, when you sent me that text message, it was so sweet. But I was like, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, Oprah is simultaneously an insult or
a
compliment, depending on which way you want to go with it. But yeah, so that is something that we should have as the body of Christ, that we should be able to lean on each other. And that's really what we found whenever you weren't sure about figuring this out. We were thinking like, okay, can we go fund me? Can we PayPal this? What can we do? And we didn't have to worry about any of that because the church had already prepared in advance, just in case somebody wanted to come but couldn't for the finances of it. So, I mean, that's exactly the opposite of what the cynical world would say. And it's also the opposite of where we came from, where you just were constantly told to give to one person. Just the past.
All the time. All the time. This is totally different. I'm so excited I get to do this with Lo. Shout out to Lo.
You guys will have to do like something live or something like together, get some photos. That would be so wonderful.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited.
Yes, and the Chuck and Lo show will be back. They did take a little bit of a hiatus for the holidays, but they should be back now in January. So that is the very same Lo from Chuck and Lo.
Yes, yeah.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yes. Yeah, and the stuff we'll be learning about is like hermeneutics and Old Testament and New Testament survey and some really great authors and professors that we get to get connected with because we're, all about wanting to learn more theology deeper for women. Fail.
We suck at life.
Oh, Bible study plan.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Now we'll focus again. So I can take all that. So that's it. Thank you, Nancy. We have some other shout outs too that we want to do. There's a couple of humblebees that we have become honorary friends of right now. Well, they are praying for some like fellowship like Becca and I have. It kind of came up randomly in one of our comments. And so we just wanted to give a shout out to Sarah and Kathy, our honorary friends, because we're praying for you ladies. And we're so thankful for both of you. You've been such a blessing to us. You're so sweet. And I have one more shout out. Do you have any other shout outs? Oh, we have two more shout outs.
Yes. I had Kara's been awesome. I found her, I forget how we met. We met in one of the groups. I think I want to say Fighting for the Faith. Was it Fighting for the Faith? Kara, let me know. It was one of the Facebook groups. And we become really good friends. And we almost go through very similar issues with family and in-laws. And it's almost like the last couple of weeks we've had almost the exact same thing happen.
Wow.
Really interesting. So we've been there for each other. Kara, I call her Kara Bear. I love her.
Oh, that's so
isn't that cute? I love her. And Liz from Instagram. So I think we put that on the other episode, but her name is LYS, Liz. So nice to be talking with you on Instagram, and it's been so just so encouraging having her watch and give feedback and talking to another reformed believer out there. It's been so great to reach out to people Instagram, social media. Who else? There was one other person. Liz, Kara. Oh, I have Tami and Gina.
Oh, yeah.
As well. They have been huge, a part of our blog and everything.
Yes. Oh, it's such a blessing too. I learned so much from them every time they post. This week's Through the Narrow blog was about Anne Voskamp. I'm probably not pronouncing that last name wrong, but the details that Tami gave, it's very disturbing. But she goes through it for us so that we don't have to go and read this really gross stuff. So it's a blessing to us who are maybe more sensitive to these things, or I'm sure that it bothers her too. But she does this for us as a sister in Christ, where she's reading through these things. They're disgusting. The quotes are absolutely disgusting. And then
I couldn't believe that.
Exposes it. I know, right?
I believe it because they wrote it. But I'm like, I had no idea this cute little book had all this
gross
romanticism. What is it? Pantheism?
Yeah.
Is everything.
Very, when I say gross, I mean the relational descriptions were sensual in every quote. It was very disgusting. You don't talk about God like that. That's not okay. I wouldn't publicly talk about my husband like that because it's inappropriate. That's just not. That's not appropriate for a believer to be talking in that way about anything. But one point that Tami brought up that was really fascinating is what if it's a man that is involved in this same group? If this is how Christianity is supposed to be, it's just a female religion. Right. Because a man to be talking this way about God or Jesus would be very extremely uncomfortable for it would. Man. So thank you, Tami. Thank you, Gina. You guys have both been doing a really great job with that.
Yes, and they have cute books too available that I read those and I love them.
Yeah, they have encouraged Kaylee so much. They've sent us the books for Christmas. Kaylee immediately sat down and read them, and then immediately decided she was going to be an author, and came downstairs and wrote her own children's book, which is it's so neat to see her inspired like that. She was like, I want to be like Tami and Gina.
I want to be like Tami and Gina.
Me too, right?
Right?
I would love to be able to write like they do. They're
Right?
both wonderful writers. A couple of other shout outs. Would like to shout out Patrick from Cave to the Cross.
Yes.
Apologetics. When we were having trouble with technology, he was just instantly like, let me know if I can help. I'm like, oh, can you just fix all of it?
Yes.
Can I just mail you my computer and you tell me what I've done to it now?
Yeah, and he replied like immediately to that. Yeah, that was so super sweet.
Yeah, they've both been very supportive of our podcast. And they have a wonderful podcast that I would recommend personally. I would recommend following them on YouTube because they post the whole thing. I'll make sure to link to that below. But they also post shorter versions of it so that you can get the clips of it. So if you don't have like a full hour to watch or listen to a podcast, but you want to catch up throughout the day, he's got that chopped up for you where you can catch the highlights, which is just brilliant. It's really.
It is. I wanted to give a shout out to my mentor, Deena. That happened in 2019. Her daughter actually asked me to mentor her, and then I asked her mom, Deena, to be my mentor at church. So it happened organically. It wasn't something that we were starting at church. It was just I was asked one day and I was like, what, me? And that was before the podcast. It was like before that. And so it's been, Deena has been so helpful, especially we're reading a book, Trusting in God by Jerry Bridges. And it's been so helpful understanding God's sovereignty and that this situation. So what my mentor always reminds me of is like, she's always telling me, God's allowing this situation. God's sovereign. And now it's time to be trusting him and to be faithful. And like, it's so helpful to have a mentor like that at church. Pouring into me as I pour into her daughter.
Oh, such a blessing to even hear that. And it's always really nice too, whenever something is happening for the podcast, if there's like some drama or anything where you can say, you know what, maybe I'll ask my mentor. And I'm like, yes, please do. And this is the last shout out. I wanted to give a shout out to Geraldine on Facebook. Her company is called, and I'm going to link to it below. So it's Vintage Vinyl Kreations with a K. And so her company, it's like made to order to made.
Oh, nice.
Wait, how do you say that? I don't know.
Yeah, made to order.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right?
That's it. You did
if
it.
I think too long about it, it sounds wrong. I don't know why. But anyway, so she's been so sweet and very supportive listener of our podcast. And so I just wanted to give her a quick shout out. Thank you, Geraldine, for being so sweet.
Yes.
And that's all my shout outs for today.
Yay! Shout outs. Loved it.
Yeah,
now we're going to talk about favorites of 2019, which my favorite thing is Lauren.
Oh.
That's what I wrote about. And she's so wonderful. And I'm like we were talking about this yesterday. I was like, I was going to delete my Instagram, my Becca Brian, because I didn't feel like it was really, I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what I'm doing with Lauren.
That's right. So now we both don't know what we're doing, and it makes us feel better about it. So
yes. And
anybody wants to come along and help us.
I know you said the funniest thing yesterday. She's like, I just want to go back to MySpace.
It was so much easier. You guys, stop inventing new platforms. Just stop it.
Yes.
The old ones are still here. Like either we need to stop inventing new ones or we need to get rid of the old ones as we move forward because it's still a thing, but it's a confusing thing now because Facebook is trying to compete with all of these new platforms by making everything a jumbled mess and super confusing. So, I mean, it's got to stop.
Right? Is anybody else finding this stuff that's going on Facebook? Sometimes I can't see the comments correctly in the right order. Is anybody else having that trouble? Like,
yeah, it's a mess because they hide some of it. So you're only seeing you're not going to see everything. And even whenever I go live, I notice this on Instagram that it says, we'll send a message to some of your followers to let them know that you're going live. And I'm like, obviously, if they're following me, they all want to know that I'm going live. Why would you only send it? So that means somebody I really would love to see going live could be going live and I wouldn't even know it.
I wouldn't see it. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Not
it's
cool.
Goofy.
Yeah. And
we're learning.
Yeah, Instagram is now owned by Facebook and Facebook is changing it so that now Facebook and Instagram will be a jumbled, confusing mess. So, yay!
It's the Matrix.
I just want to remember MySpace for a little bit longer. Or AIM.
Yes. I know. I'm so into 90s. Like, I don't know if anybody knows this, but when I'm like creating memes and stuff, I'm totally like, jamming it to TLC and my 90s stuff. Yep. Sometimes I'll listen to City Light while I'm doing stuff.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. That's but there's very little good stuff from today. So
right, I know. Yeah, so 90s. It makes me feel like a kid. Like,
oh yeah,
like simpler times.
We're so confused. It helps to feel like there's simpler times. Like maybe we can get back there.
Yeah, I know 90s was fun. Like, that's why I like posted like NSYNC and stuff and asked you your favorite boy band, and it's just a simpler time.
It was simpler back then.
It was.
Hopefully, before you guys see this one, my answer to those questions will be online.
Be up, yeah. I know. What Friendly Calvinist was like getting back to me about something, and I was like, dude, don't worry about getting back to me. Get back to me whenever, because I remember the 90s, pre-internet. And free everything, and we all can learn to wait.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you're so good about that though. Like whenever I'm over here trying to get something to load, and I'm like, I know that this should have loaded like 8 hours ago, but my computer doesn't want to do it. And you're just like, it's okay. Take as long as you need. You're so sweet.
Yes, we can all learn to wait.
Yeah, Becca's got so many grace cards. I was going to say that. We got a whole stack of grace cards back there.
Making it rain.
Make it rain.
Which Lauren's going to find out how we can like actually make these grace cards with that scripture.
Yes, I love that idea. Like the opposite of a gospel tract. Do you want to hand gospel tracts out to non-believers? Grace cards need to be handed out to actual believers.
Mm-hmm. Here you go.
So it's a little different. Yep. I love it. So, okay. My favorite things from 2019 definitely includes Becca and all of our humblebees. Like, that is a huge thing that happened in 2019 was having a podcast and a best friend.
Yes,
and humblebees, all of these friends, all these humblebees. You guys, you listen and you respond and you pray for us. I mean, that's so neat. I never would have guessed that a year ago that this is what we would be doing.
No, absolutely. It's been so nice. Can I like mention about like what happened on my Facebook a few days ago?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Yes. So I posted something about the whole Bethel thing, and now they're in-laws. So usually my in-laws can't see what I post, but I decided I'm going to post. I want to see if because usually they don't respond very kindly, or they just start trolling me. So they can't see most of my content. But this one time I posted about, a couple days about the Bethel stuff, about how I felt about it. Usually I posted a quote from Chris Roseborough or something. And my brother-in-law went on the intack. He went on the attack. And I was like, I'm going to leave this up because I don't think I was like, I'm not being unbiblical. I'm not posting anything that's not truth. I feel like what Bethel is doing is straight up pastoral abuse to this family and their congregation. And so he messaged, he just did it in the comments, and I'm like, I'm going to leave it up. But little did I know that the more he commented, the more other people would see it.
Right.
And a lot of our humblebees saw it and was like, whoosh, they all came in there. And Lauren did too. And I was just asking for prayer because I'm like, and just DM me, dude. Just DM me.
I bet you that next time he probably will. But really, the humblebees, and this is why I love these opportunities. Mm-hmm. If you have this opportunity for anybody else that's coming and saying, well, I don't know. Is Bethel doing a bad thing? I don't know. Now they have the opportunity to read through this argument, read through this discussion, and they have both sides being represented. So they can actually see, okay, this guy is representing the Bethel side, and these people over here, they're representing the Reformed side. And so now you have this opportunity where you just have this whole conversation. It's all up. And so whereas there's the idea, almost an instinctual, well, I need to delete this because this isn't good. People are upset, and he was definitely not being very kind. But then when you realize, okay, but wait, this could actually help a lot of people who might be confused. And because it's being boosted repeatedly, by his unkind comments, which is ironic because he disagrees with you, but because he was disagreeing with you, more people saw what you posted.
More people saw it. Yeah. And you'll see me saying, DM me, dude. Like, just DM me. And this'll, like, but the more he commented, the more I did. But I didn't know that till later. My sister told me about how that worked, and I was like, what? I was like, oh, I just, usually what I do, Lauren knows what I do. I usually delete that. I just don't want that kind of, it's on my personal Facebook page. So I usually don't want to do it, but she was so great about it. Lauren was awesome.
Oh, like, she was really. I was gonna not say anything because I was like, I better not. I mean, I'll get very defensive and protective of my co-host, so I better like take a step back. But then, I think it was a few hours later. A lot of the Humblebees had stepped in, and I was also not gonna respond to that until I read the very aggressive and unkind responses that he was giving to our Humblebees. And I was like, oh my goodness. How about we take a step back, fella, and calm yourself down before you, because what you're doing as a professing Christian is you're a professing Christian publicly online, acting in a way that's very unacceptable for a professing Christian. I was like, we're all going to be held accountable for every vain word that we speak, and that's frightening to me. So maybe take a deep breath, step away. You don't have to respond to people immediately. That's something that I think for the Friendly Calvinist mentioned, like you can wait and respond the next day whenever your emotions have settled down. And that's really something that you and I are helping each other out with, because whenever there's something very serious happening, we message each other first. We're like, okay, does this sound okay? And does this sound loving? Does this sound appropriate? And then even if we need to like sleep on it the next day or talk to our husbands, we've got those guiding.
We got protections for each other.
Or the little bumper things they put out whenever you're really bad at bowling.
The bumpers. Yes. I forget what those are called. Bumpers.
I always need those.
Yes. It's so great having someone to like, can you check this? Absolutely. That has been so helpful. And I like just called Lauren yesterday. I was like, I don't know how to handle this in my life. I want my in-laws to see everything. I just want to cry thinking about this because I don't know. Lauren and I have gone back and forth about what's the best thing to move forward with it.
Our deepest concern in our heart is for these family members, of course, to hear truth. That is why we are doing a podcast. We want to be able to share truth in a fun and inviting way where we're not like, two sticks in the mud, that we're actually able to share with people the truth in an inviting way. But the biggest point is that we want to see the lost saved. We want to see those that are stuck in deception. We were stuck in deception. That's why we're not out here saying, haha, we're so superior. We figured this out on our own. We did not figure this out on our own. God plucked us out of that fire. I mean, he took us out of that deception, and it was just as painful as you would imagine. That it would be. And so for anybody in the deception, if they're listening and they're like, well, you just don't understand, I'm going to lose everything. No, we do understand because we were there. We were in the deception. We are still having to peel back the layers of confusion that is still remaining from being taught that for so many years. So that's our heart for this. Like, why do we want to communicate with these family members? Why do we want to make sure? Well, because we want them to hear truth. Why are we concerned about it? Well, because they get really aggressive and angry.
They do. I know they do. Like that was my concern when I joined with Lauren. I was like, Lauren, here, I've had trouble with my in-laws on social media, and I wanted her to see how far it can get. And not that I was pushing him to do it by any means. I wasn't. I immediately was like, my first response was was DM me. I would love to have a sound biblical theology discussion. Feel free to message me. Which he never did. I ended up messaging him, but after like 60 comments from everybody and him including, you know, but I wanted Lauren to see, this side that I'm unfortunately attached with and going through.
No matter how hard you try to separate yourself from the emotions of that, it's very discouraging.
Yeah.
To see a family member talk to you like that. Any person, any human being talking to you like that is discouraging. Seeing people who love us enough to go in and defend us is it's so wonderful and it's exciting. But then you see that exact same person being mean to them, and you're like, how I can't stop them and I can't correct this. So it's like I'm trying and nothing is getting through. It's discouraging and it's hurtful. And so it's a difficult balance that we're trying to figure out. Like, do we leave these things up? Do we let them all in? Do we, how do we handle this? Because it's hurtful and it's sorrowful to have to see that kind of behavior. But we, at the same time, we're all like, okay, but how do we get the truth? And you didn't have to push him. Like, very kind responses that our Humblebees were given were responded back to in a shockingly unloving way. My husband thought I was being exaggeratory. Like, he was like, you're exaggerating, no big deal. He didn't say that to me, but in his mind, he was like, that can't be that bad. But then he went in and thought, and he was like, oh, no, that's not normal. That's not okay. Yeah. You don't talk to people like that. Like,
and that was just a personal post. That wasn't even anything Tulips and Honey related.
Right? It wasn't. It was you posting on your own personal. That's why I was just like, this is not right. Like but I do remember that behavior being very normal in the Word of Faith movement, because it was it's a loveless movement. It's a very selfish movement, and it's a very loveless movement where you are literally all about me. What can I get? What can I do? And so because of that, because the focus is so man-centered, it's easy to lose sight of somebody else. Now, the irony is that these people that are so willing to be mean and aggressive will be the first ones to get offended if somebody says something to them. Like, how dare you say, do you know who I am? I am a very important person because all of these heretics tell me how important I am. So it's interesting to see it from the outside, looking back in and knowing that's exactly how arrogant and rude I was when I was in it, because they make you feel like you're important. Like, that's how they get your money. That's how they're getting all of your money. You're so important. And, you know, God wants to give you the Ferrari and the big house. Now send me your money. So it's emotional manipulation, but it does cause this kind of vicious outbursts. Besides the fact that, like, if you come against somebody that believes that with truth, biblical truth, it's an affront. Like, you're tearing down those strongholds of lies in their life, all of these like false truths that they've been told. Gosh, the pride does not want to admit that it's been duped. It took me a long time to be like, man, I mean, God is amazing where he just, my pride was so destroyed the day, the morning I woke up after getting saved. I woke up that next morning and I was like, oh man, I know nothing.
Yes.
It was a lot easier to accept that at that point.
Right.
That I had been duped by so much stuff. But the day before that, or the day before that, or the day before that, it would have been really difficult to just be like, yep, I'm an idiot. I just really fell for that one.
Yes, right. And I remember, like, I was like, I've been lied to. And I remember him, like, messaging me, and we were talking about stuff, and I was answering his questions, and he was, and I was like, I totally get where you're coming from. I would have said the exact same thing 2 or 3 years ago before, you know, hearing the truth. That I said, I totally understand. But this is biblical truth. And he was never, like, he's like, yeah, you're being biblical. Like, he was always upfront about that. Yes, you're being biblical about this, but why would you want to call out a false teacher and judge them? So now you're judging people, but little does he know he's judging me, judging a false teacher.
Right. You just called me out publicly.
You just called me out.
Because you don't think I should be calling out somebody else.
Yes. And that happens a lot. Lauren and I have been dealing with this a lot through social media.
Yes, it does. It happens a lot. That's why I did a whole series on the laws of logic. And so I recently did a Throwback Thursday to it, because if we understand logic, we understand why this makes no sense. Understand that you're being arbitrary when you make certain statements. If you're to say, oh, well, you can't call out a false teacher because that's unloving and unkind. Well, that's an arbitrary statement. Where is the authority behind that? You've just created your own authority. Where can you show me in scripture that I'm not supposed to call out false teachers? Because I can show you where you are commanded to do so. So you need to have that standard, that scriptural standard that you stand on, or else you're going to find yourself logically in some trouble.
Yes. That's what I try to do, is to try to keep it biblical.
Yeah, you did
There's
good.
some scripture.
Pray for us.
I was like, please pray for us. I know I kept texting Laura. I was like, is this okay? We even had associate pastor and another friend of ours from church, people from church were coming up and asking me about it. And so I've already cried so much about it. I've have so many different ideas of what I can do. But they do not know about Tulips and Honey.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and can anybody blame Becca for not sending that their way? Because this is our work. This is our hard work poured into this. This is something that we spend hours each week pouring into. And so it's very discouraging if somebody wants to come in and just blast you. You had told me how bad it was, but I had never seen it. And it's, oh man, it's some unkindness, some very unloving behavior.
Yeah. And we had already this happened earlier in the summer, so we had already messaged them back a lot with answers, and after a while we were just email us. And then so when, I don't know why he was saying we're so not open anymore, when I'm we're posting, we're really open, we're a text, call, email, message us away, I'm closed off. I'm what what are you talking about?
That probably is more referring to the fact that you're closed off to their theology, where you're not in agreement anymore to what they're saying. So there is, what did Justin Peters said something about this, that when he got saved,
family.
He said that once he got saved, his convictions grew stronger. So he wasn't as willing to bend his convictions for whichever church he went to. He was no, I'm a cessationist. This is what I believe. And that does change whenever you get saved. Your convictions just grow stronger and stronger. I've had that happen to me about multiple different issues, abortion, homosexuality, all these things where as you grow stronger in the word, your convictions do grow stronger. And in that aspect, you do become more closed off to accepting somebody else's errant beliefs. So if you want to have your own errant beliefs, then go have your own errant beliefs. If you don't want to be biblical, go off and don't be biblical. But if you come onto my page and you argue with me, and I'm gonna give you biblical reasons. So I think that's probably where the idea is coming from. That you don't just say, "Oh, okay, well, let's just get along to get along," agree to disagree. No, you came to my page. I'm gonna correct you.
Yes. Yeah, it's my personal post. I'm if you just don't like it, just keep scrolling. I don't know, I have never gone onto their pages and messaged or did anything on their own post if they texted or messaged about Brian Houston or posted about Bill Johnson or whatever. I've never gone over to their page and have said anything unkind. I just give a Christ card and keep scrolling. And
I have to tell you something really funny about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Since we've been talking about scrolling up, this has been something that you and I have said so many times back and forth to each other that it's now an expression in our house. And so whenever Justin does something maybe leave the toilet seat up, I'm I'm just going to scroll up on that. I don't even need to comment on this. I'm going to scroll up. Let me put
Those are the worst. That's the worst. Have you ever fallen in a toilet that
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And it's gross whenever you have a man in the house. And Justin is, I love him so much, but he does walk in his sleep. So he's not just a little bit active in his sleep. Like he will make himself food in his sleep. But one day I woke up in the middle of the night and he was in the bathroom in his sleep. Or no, yeah, it was daytime. I can't remember now. Because he's a night worker, so his schedule's off. It's different than mine.
Right.
So I heard him up, and I went and checked on him, and he was in the bathroom, but he was nowhere near that toilet, and he was peeing, but he was not peeing into that. And so I do not want to fall ever into that toilet because the aim is apparently hard for men. I don't know. I'm going to scroll up on that. Because apparently they're not as good. I don't understand why. I don't understand how that's possible. But gross. You don't want to fall into that once you're married.
No, I know. I'm always so jealous when they can just go, on the side of the road behind a bush, and I'm like,
yeah, that must be nice. Especially the long trips that we take. Like if we're in the middle of nowhere and there's nowhere for like 2 or 3 hours, and we've got to stop on the side of the road and go to the bathroom. It's going to take me 15 minutes. Like it's just there's cars going back and forth. I can't. You're like I'm squatting, but is something going to bite me in the butt? Like
it's a very vulnerable position.
Yes,
and you have to relax.
It's so frustrating. Men can just go and do it. But yeah, that's our thing now in the house. Is like I'm just going to scroll on that. I'm going to scroll up on that.
I love that.
I don't have to comment on every little thing that my husband does that I don't like. Socks on the floor. I'm going to scroll up. That's okay. I can put those up for him. No big deal.
Yes.
Just keep scrolling. Scroll up. Give that Grace card. Give it. So it's now a thing in our house.
I love that.
It's a cool new expression.
It's a great visual of just, when someone says something, you just kind of give a Grace card.
Yeah.
And you have to let it go.
Yeah. You don't want to hold on to it because then it's going to come out later. You're just going to say, oh, you know what? That's not actually important. And I love it whenever I actually have self-control enough to do this because almost always when I don't have self-control to do it, there's this terrible, horrible reason why this happened. And I said something rude about it and maybe he's sick or, he didn't sleep well or whatever it is. And here I'm being a jerk. And I'm like, oh.
You're being a jerk. I'm the jerk.
So sorry.
Because it will just come back later and more aggressive if you don't deal with it. Sorry, I'm putting in chapstick. You guys like this?
You put on all the chapstick you want. It's
dry. Yeah.
Dry.
Super dry. Ooh, I have a question for you. What are some of your favorite episodes of this year?
Ooh, from ours?
Yeah.
Oh,
or we can go over some of them.
I love that idea. Okay, that's so fun. What a good question. Okay, Greg's from Anchored North. Mm-hmm. Definitely my favorite from this. Well, yes. I have to think because we've interviewed some great people. Like we got to interview Justin Peters. Mm-hmm. I interviewed before we were Tulips and Honey. I interviewed Dr. Jason Lyle, who's one of my heroes, the faith. Interviewed Ray Comfort, but we had Patrick and from the Cave of the Cross
and Tony. Yeah, I love them.
They're so funny. I think of all of the episodes, that one was so much fun because the what are they called? The guinea pig. The guinea pig.
Oh, the guinea pig with Greg. Yes, I know. I wasn't even expecting that. I was asking him what was his favorite animal sound.
Yes.
And then it just went. We had no clue that he has a whole Instagram page of 25,000 followers plus for his guinea pig page.
Guinea pigs, and he really sounded like a guinea pig whenever he did the guinea pig.
Yes,
it was very impressive. What about you? What was your favorite?
Yeah, that Anchored North with Greg was so much fun because he was. That was before we started doing outlines, and I don't think we had outlines.
Nope.
I don't even think we sent him questions over.
I don't think so.
It was still really early on. It was early on of us doing video.
Yep.
And he just went with any squirrel, like my fish, any squirrel trail. He just went with it, and it was so funny.
It was. It was really funny. Yeah, he did good. Like improv almost. Yeah, it was funny.
And he would dish it back, and it was really fun. And we don't have an outline, and we don't have questions from that. We just kind of winged it, and that turned out to be one of my favorites. And Tony and Patrick were super fun too. That was again. We didn't have really set. Kind of, we had set questions, but really had the Shenanigans ones picked. I think.
Yeah. Right.
and then we just went with it, and they were so funny. And
Super
Tony
funny.
gave, like, I love what Patrick is always saying when he messages us on some of our content or on stuff on Facebook. It helps me so much. I'm learning so much just from Patrick's like Facebook things. But Tony said something on the show that, like, I remember you had a funny question for him about what book would you not want to read if someone held a gun to your head or something.
Yes.
Like, what would be that book? And he was like, all books have value, even the heretical ones. And I was like, not that I'm saying read heretical books. People, I've read enough that I'm like, I don't want to, but there's value in it. And that has been so, like, shifted my thinking towards other brothers and sisters in Christ. Who might share non-essential different views about third tier and second tier issues.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a really good point to take it. Yeah, I mean, his point was like, you can read these and take them apart, like, but if you don't understand the other side's perspective, then you're gonna have a lot harder of a time actually refuting them. So it helps. Like, I would still not want to sit and read it, but I understand what he's saying. And like Patrick just said this the other day. He said that he wants all of the heresy to be wide out there. Make it as open as possible. Don't hide it, because if it's hidden, it's going to be hard to find. It's going to be hard to prove. And we have that issue with, like, Bill Johnson's very sneaky, very sly with his words. So he's said certain things about Christ that are obviously, what's the word for it? Just
I mean, like, just straight up blasphemy. I mean, they're denying,
that, like, he left his divinity when he came to earth, right? Like, that's
he dropped it and he was only man. That's canonic Christ.
Canonic, that's the word, canonic, But then whenever he's called out on it, he's able to say, like, well, I've never said that. So, but he has said it. But he's still able to say, I didn't use this word.
Yes, which that was something I was saying under my comments about the whole Bethel Wake Up Olive thing. Like, this is why he says this is blasphemy, but we're having trouble, like, with, you know, getting that to be understanding on both sides of, like, word of faith people.
Right. Yeah.
They don't. They just are like, no, this is a church that's grieving and they're working out their way. And I'm like, they're not grieving. Are. Yeah. And they don't even know what they're asking for.
Yeah. If somebody pointed out too that, like, what they're saying is they are taking back the life as if Satan had taken it, and now they're taking it back. And so there's some doctrinal issues that can actually be, this could actually be a wonderful point where we could help like flesh some of that out, where people could understand better why it is that's wrong. Because unless you have actually addressed that exact issue, would it be something that, like, a new person coming out of the Word of Faith would even understand? And that's why you and I, when we first came out of the Word of Faith, we were like, we can't accept anything, like anything, until we've researched it ourselves.
Yeah, seriously, because you're like, you've been so deceived. And that canonic Christ issue is a top tier. That is gospel. They do not know the gospel. So we have to treat them as unbelievers, and they need to hear the gospel.
Exactly.
Because they're hearing false teaching.
So how serious is that? It is literally eternal. Eternity is riding on that. Because here's the problem with this, and we're kind of going into another scroll, but I feel like this is really important. If you have a Christ that is not God, fully man, then his sacrifice is not good enough to save anyone. What you have to have in place of humanity is God. It had to be fully God. It had to be fully man. That's why he's the Messiah. So you have this issue where otherwise anybody who died, any human being could have died. But here's the problem. Every human being on this earth is born of Adam. We all have the same sin nature. We were all born of Adam, which means we all have the sin curse in our DNA. It's there. We are born sinful. Yes. Jesus wasn't born of Adam. God was his father. Mm-hmm. So because of that, we see that it has to be a perfect, sinless lamb. It had to be a sinless person, a sinless man. but no man is ever going to be sinless. It had to be God.
Yeah.
That's the only way Jesus was able to be sinless. Otherwise, Jesus said John the Baptist was the greatest man to ever live. Mm-hmm. Why couldn't it have just been John the Baptist then? No, it had to be God in flesh. God made man. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. The Word became flesh.
God. Yes. And
so
they keep taking that theology, and then they just are so far from Scripture. It's not even biblical what they're doing, what they're saying. They're denying Christ. Mm-hmm. They're denying the fact that He came, because they're asking for resurrection. And He is the true resurrection. Like, it's just insane. Like, it's so far. It kind of reminds me of today's Name That Heretic. I won't even say who it is, but it's our number 12 one. And it says, God is so proud of you. You are someone God wants to boast about. That is so heretical. But you hear that a lot of, we're special. You're not special. We are not special.
That's so great, because you haven't even listened to the live feed.
No, I haven't.
That's exactly what I said.
Nice.
How fun is that? And you can say who it is, because by today we're on a different one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So this is a Beth Moore one. So it's so heretical. I didn't really get into Beth Moore that much. She wasn't, because I was like far into like Bethel stuff. So Beth Moore wasn't like word of faith enough for me back then.
Right. I was just gonna say that she didn't go far enough for us.
Yeah, she didn't go far enough. Yeah. So but now she's not reformed enough. So. But she's getting to a point where I guess she's on the fringe, or maybe she's already apostated. I don't even know what the terms are.
Right. Yeah. Like she slipped a long time ago, but there was a point in time where she wasn't heretical. Right. She was teaching biblically sound doctrine. Mm-hmm. But she took that nosedive like so many others are doing. It's really unfortunate. But,
it is.
Okay, what's next? What do we got next on our super awesome list?
Let's see. We have upcoming stuff. I know. So did you want to mention about how like we are doing Name That Heretic contest, but we have another one coming up afterwards?
Yes.
I don't know what we're going to call it though.
Oh, maybe list that heretic? No, name that heresy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That'll be fun.
So it'll be a full on quote.
Yeah. But we'll just do a full quote. You can even know who it is.
Yes. Yeah. And then below Name That Heresy.
Yeah, that way you have to tell us what the name of the heresy is. I like it.
Yes.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, so we'll do a bunch of different ones.
And this came from your church, like someone in your church.
Yeah. One of my friends from church was like mentioning about. I think he even saw it maybe somewhere in the comments. Someone had kind of mentioned it. And I was like, I texted Lauren. I was like, this is such a great idea, because then they have to tell us why this is heretical. Because we're pushing a lot of Name That Heretics, because a lot of people don't know the heresy that Lauren and I came out of, or they just have no idea, or they don't believe it. Or they've just grown up in such good theology that they just have no idea how bad it is.
Right.
And so we wanted to shine some light. That's why we are doing it. And I love its Name That Heretic.
And it's really given us an opportunity to like communicate with our listeners a lot better. Yes. They've been really excited to. And I'm so surprised how many of them are just like, boom, right away.
Yeah, some of them get it immediately. Like, there's no way. Like, some people, I think Rank Heresy, she gets it like in 7 seconds. And I'm like, there's no way she would Google that. Yeah.
And 7 seconds. Right. Mm-hmm. Very impressive. Like, lots of people can guess right away. But the ones that are getting it right away, I'm like, whoa.
Right.
Maybe we should let you do this.
I know, yeah.
Just watch you do it.
The women of the table, they tagged me, and they like sent me one, and I was like, this is so cool. But I didn't know who it was, and so I guessed, and I was like, oh, this is what it feels like.
It feels really scary.
I was like, I don't know who it is. I even tried Googling it. I still couldn't find the quote. We had to really dig for some of these.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
I had to dig for Beth Moore, because Lauren and I, it was hard to find, because there's some good content, even with like Joyce Meyer, and there's some truth to what they are saying.
Right. Well, and that's what people are going to quote too. Like, you're only going to get the quotes are the best of what somebody has. So you're not going to hear the quotes of the crazy stuff. So whenever like Forbidding Hymns, for example, when I went to look for his quotes, I never saw anything about how the Trinity was really 9 people. Like, that's not on any of the quoting sites, because they're pulling the best out of it. Yeah,
that's right, because that's from a video from like the 90s. I always tried to find the most recent content from whatever speaker, because I'm like, I'm going to give them a grace card for the 90s. I'll give them a grace card. But within the last 10 years, I'm totally going to call you out on this. And especially they're not calling it out themselves, saying sorry. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. They're not going anywhere with it. But that's going to be the new game. I'm really excited about this. So hopefully we can tweak this each month into something a little different. But this Friday, so this is dropping on Thursday. So tomorrow we'll be announcing the winner of
Name That Heretic.
Yeah, the 3 winners of Name That Heretic. And then Monday we'll be starting the new
Name That
game.
Heresy.
Name That Heresy. So we're really excited.
Yes.
Yeah. Look forward to that.
Yeah, and we have other ideas for other contests in the future. So it's not just Name That Heretic, and and Lauren's gonna answer more about that in her questions video. So we'll link to that below.
Excited! Yay! Oh yeah, I can totally link to that below. Very cool. Okay, so what do we have coming up though? We've got a lot of cool things coming up.
Yeah, G3's coming up pretty soon, and G3 conference, and a lot of our podcasters, like half of our podcasters are going to this except us. Where is it? Is it in North Carolina?
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's North Carolina. Yep. So the Aquila and Priscilla Hour will be there, and the Chuck and Lowe Show will be there. So that's pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah, so we're hoping to get clips and little interviews here and there and their experiences, so that's going to be really fun.
I'm so excited. I really am excited about that. That's going to be cool. I mean, I'm a little jelly, but not by much. Next thing is our testimonies. So
we skipped that one. How did I skip that?
I got your back. I can hear myself echoing.
We've both done our testimonies early on in the podcast. I loved yours. I don't know, how did you do it in 17 minutes?
I don't know. I was really awkward. That was like the beginning of the podcast. That was my first podcast ever. I was so awkward. I recorded that one like a million times. So many times.
And now we get to do it on video.
Yay.
Yay. Do you want to do them together?
Oh, I like that idea.
Where we ask each other? Okay. Instead of doing them separately.
That'd be cool. I like that. That'd be really cool. Yeah. We'll do that. So that's coming up, listeners. You'll be able to hear our testimony. Several people have kind of asked us for our testimonies. And since they're outdated at this point, when I say outdated, I mean there's not a video of them because it was a whole 6 months ago. So
I know, this is so quick. I feel like I've known you forever.
I know. It's just been since August. So it feels like a long time ago though. It really does.
It does. Yes. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's coming up. So then we can always link people to our testimonies because we're Tulips and Honey. Tulips and Honey equals Lauren and Becca.
Duh.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. What about C?
Lauren
ABC.
Yeah. Oh, I hope so. Wouldn't that be nice? We are praying about that hopefully we get together and meet up. That would be really nice.
Yeah, so we're having that for 2020.
Yeah.
For us to meet up. And maybe we can try to meet other people.
Yeah, we're like almost 1,100 miles away. Oh, but that is a good idea. Like if you live somewhere near us and you're a listener and you're not like crazy or an axe.
You're not crazy. In a public space, we will meet you.
Don't be an axe murderer.
Yeah, so right now I'm in Arizona and don't be an axe murderer. And Lauren is in North Dakota.
So next on our list is monthly women's teaching check-in. Ooh.
Yes. Yeah, so once a month I'll have that. I don't even know what we'll be planning. It's once a month. It's every third Tuesday that Lo and I will be going to this women's teaching at Phoenix Seminary. And so I'm thinking like maybe a photo with Lo, maybe a quick little interview with her and I, and maybe a blog post in that week to go over that. I learned.
Yeah. Like whenever, as you're done with it, like you guys could record something for the listeners. That's a great idea.
Yes. Hopefully we get time to. It's going to be at night, so I'm hoping I can at least get a photo and a little quick clip. It might have to be before, because she might have to leave. I'll have to check with her because she's not close to it either. So everybody's driving to this location at night, once a month.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you can get like a 30-second clip.
Yeah.
That might be about it.
Lo and I photo op.
The bar podcast is very exciting. So you want to tell the listeners about that?
Yeah, the bar podcast guy, he messaged me on Instagram to Lauren and I about coming on the podcast. And I'm so excited. So she's going to be going one day earlier in February, and then I'll be going in mid-February onto their podcast. We'll go separately. And we're also having him on our podcast the last week of February. So that's really exciting. Yeah. It's a lot going on, even from our January to our February going. Mm-hmm. We have so much going on.
There is a lot happening. Yeah. We're really excited. We've got several people coming onto the program. So we have some people. We have Emily and her husband. They worked for Joyce Meyer. They're going to be joining us on the 12th. So that'll be the next week. And then we have Melanie, who's joining us in January and mid-January, and she worked at Elevation. So those are some great. Yes, those are some great interviews that we're going to be able to bring you like some inside like viewpoints of. These are people who have come out of that now, so they don't still work for them. But yeah, they're Emily and her husband were on Doreen's. Mm-hmm. They were on Doreen's podcast or YouTube channel. Yes. And then Melanie, I can include her blog below. She's a blogger. She's a very talented writer, and she's also a very talented photographer. And
she likes the 90s music, which I'm super excited.
That is all you need.
Yeah.
To really win your way to our hearts.
Yes.
And then Doreen Virtue, we're going to be separately again because everybody wants to divide and conquer. We're going to be joining Doreen and Melissa on their channel in January, I think.
Yeah. When is it? I don't even know when it is.
I'll contact her. I'll get a hold of her. So to be decided on the day for that one. But yeah.
Oh, some of my friends from church will be on the podcast.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. You've got a couple of friends from church.
Yeah.
We got some great guests coming up.
We
seriously.
do.
I'm very thankful.
One of them's she's a YouTuber singer. She's awesome, and she's on the worship team. And another he's a big Instagrammer, and he met his wife on Instagram too. They have such a great testimony, and they recently both of these have recently joined our church. So.
Oh, neat. Yes. That's a cute story. Yeah. They they met on Instagram. Aww.
I know, right? Aww. Like, yeah. And he makes Christian funny memes. So, yeah.
I like that. That's always my favorite. Like, the funny ones are the best. I forgot to mention this about 2019, but I would have to say that The Mandalorian is probably one of my favorite things from 2019.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I like it more even than the last Star Wars Episode 9. I mean, it was good, but I love The Mandalorian way better.
Well, anything that doesn't have Baby Yoda in it, is it like even worth watching?
Right? Oh, and one of some of our people that are on Facebook were like asking us questions about this. Cynthia from Facebook was asking us. That was so cool. I was like, yes, please watch this show.
You have to let us know, because once you fall in love with Baby Yoda, I mean, there's no going back. Like, nothing's going to be as cute.
And they keep saying such like the coolest quotes that I'm like, that has to be a meme.
Yes, it's very memeable. They're doing a good job. Like, it doesn't feel like they're trying to be memeable. Like, it flows well with the plot, but it's still very memeable. Yeah, I love that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
So, do we have any other updates before we get into our shenanigans?
Yeah, we do have Through the Narrow that we talked about them earlier, but they're on our blog, and she posted. I just love reading her Tami and Gina's blogs. Oh my gosh, it's such a blessing.
They're very talented writers for sure, and they're every Tuesday their blogs are going to be about discernment. So it's been very helpful. They're exposing the false teachers and in a detailed way showing you exactly why it is that these teachers need to be exposed. So even thankful.
I like reading that one from yesterday. I was like, wow, even I'm convicted of like, how is my behavior in representing Christ? And I was like, wow, like it's deep on so many different levels than just because immediately we know this is heresy, but she goes even deeper with that of the heart issue and why it's not okay for churches to have this as a Bible study or have this author be reading their book. Like like she breaks it all down. Yeah. And that's what both of them do, her and Gina.
Yeah, very helpful. Very, very helpful. So I'm thankful for that too. We also have merchandise.
We got the merch.
I have a special background for it. Yay! I'm going to change my background now.
It's so cool. I want the shirt. I want the shirt. Yay!
Okay, here's the special background now. We have a Valentine's Day shirt. So this is kind of exciting because we actually had not gotten to, like, we hadn't had the shirts in the shop for long enough to have like a Christmas thing, but we do have a Valentine's Day thing. So
yes.
Valentine's Day shirt says, roses are red, violets are blue. I don't know why you're clapping. I'm talking about you.
That is amazing. Yes. It's a great conversation starter. People are like, what does that mean?
Yeah, that actually did happen.
Who said that?
Someone on Facebook was like, I don't understand what this quote means. And so that was like a really great way of saying, here's who said it. Paul Washer said this, and this is why. And then Kathy sent the shocking message to that person. So
that's so cool. I love our Humblebees, like reaching out to other followers out there and talking to them and sharing other content and sharing Paul Washer memes and quotes and
right. Oh, I'm so excited. So our store is linked below in the descriptions if you want our special Valentine's Day shirts. It will be on sale all throughout January. There's like an early bird special on it, and then in February it'll go back to regular price. So you should get it early. Also, I don't know how long it takes for these things to ship. Look, I just Amazon Prime things so much that what is regular shipping? I don't know.
I know, right?
That's it for that. What else do you got for us, Becca B?
Shenanigans. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, some of our podcasters are also going to be. We're going to post more of their stuff on our blog from them.
Yeah.
Which and I'm hoping to do more memes for them and really, oh, sorry, my tag is showing. Sorry. Not about the price tag, people.
That's right. Well, shenanigans then.
Shenanigans. Yay. My sister does. Every time there's like a good part of the song, she's
I feel like if we could just get her to do that just for shenanigans, where she's just going.
Yes.
Do you want to go first? Because this is the first time you have thought of your own. Like, well, maybe it probably isn't the first time, but you thought of your own question this time.
I know. Lauren is so excited. I came up with my own. Okay. What has been the funniest thing that has happened to you in 2019?
Oh boy, that's tough. Okay. Yes. Wow. I know that there have been, I know what it is. I know exactly what it is now. Okay. The funniest thing that happened to me in 2019 is we were, sometimes Justin and I will quote movies. Okay. Well, nonstop we're quoting movies to each other instead of talking like normal individuals. But we don't always filter the fact that most of the movies that we've seen in our lifetimes we saw before we were saved. So most of the time when we're quoting, we might be quoting a normal phrase that's maybe not from the most appropriate movie.
Right.
And one of those is like Varsity Blues. Where
I haven't seen that in ages.
They're coming out of the strip club and they're like really gross. And he says, "What's that smell?" And the other guy says, "That's us." And so anytime somebody says, "What's that smell?" Justin and I always say, "That's us."
That's us.
Well, so one day we were getting out of the truck to go into a store and not realizing that Kaylee listens to everything. And she doesn't understand that that's a movie quote. She just thinks that's a normal response to "What's that smell?" And he was like, "What is that smell?" And Kaylee screamed at the top of her lungs, "That's us!"
No way.
And it scared us so much that like Justin threw his drink up in the air and like I screamed because it scared. And we just died laughing. Like she's just saying something that was normal to her.
Right, to her. She has no idea what line that's coming from. Yeah.
And of course that's not a movie that we would watch today, but like when we were young we watched it and it's just always something we'd quoted. And she just screamed it so loud out of nowhere. She had never said it before. "That's us!" I was like, yes! And then we died laughing. It was really funny. And so now the joke is even more funny whenever somebody smells something weird. Like, we don't just say "that's us" now, we scream it, "That's us!"
That's us! Yes, thank you, Kaylee.
Yes, that's the funniest thing that happened this year. That was early on in the year, too. Yeah, your turn.
Lauren is so fun. I think the MySpace thing is like the recent they're saying that was like She sends me stuff all the time. Oh, the whole go home, Beth. Little did John MacArthur know, J-Mac.
That is so true. Like, I think that made it even better. Like, he said that without any understanding that it was going to be the best meme of 2019.
Yes.
Like, from here on out, it's the best meme from 2019 because it was hilarious.
The funniest thing I think that we've said on the show is when you said a pasta scene, you think of a pasta, a plate of pasta. And then the Friendly Calvinist made us a meme.
He made the meme of it. That's what made it so special. Like, that was the first time a listener had sent us a meme, and it was so funny. A big old plate of a pasta seed. I always think it makes me so hungry. That was a good question. Look at you go.
Yay.
This is going to be a good year.
Oh, 2020 pineapple pizza is coming back.
No.
Numero uno. It's number one. That's the biggest thing that's going to be trending.
I have to eat pineapple pizza. I forgot. Totally forgot. Okay, well, you can keep an eye out on the YouTube channel because that's coming soon. I have to do it live. And so, should I buy it like in the store, or is it better if I order?
If you ordered it.
Better if I ordered it. Okay.
I think so. Frozen to bake isn't always. It's not going to be real pineapple. You won't taste the pineapple as much.
Oh.
You need to taste the pineapple.
Okay. Well, that's coming, so keep an eye out on that. That'll be this week. I have to do that this week. So
it's a Hawaiian pizza
today, and I forgot.
Ask for a Hawaiian pizza.
Ugh, okay.
Bacon, ham, and pineapple.
Well, I love bacon.
Bacon's kind of sweet. They cure it.
Bacon is not supposed to be sweet, but for the stockings this year for Christmas, I found at a gas station, like all fully wrapped, right? Like as if it was almost beef jerky, candied bacon. And I did buy it for Justin, like as a gag gift. Like, I don't think he's going to eat it. It's still there. He probably will never ever eat it. But it was a funny gift, like, because the packaging says, here's your candied bacon. And I was like, okay. I have to buy that too for $1. Okay, here we go. Okay, but my shenanigan question for you today is very special because it requires a certain accent from you.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yes. So I want to know what the worst baby name is that you've ever heard, and you have to answer it talking in a baby voice.
Yes, we were talking about she asked me this before. Just before the show, and I was like, okay. I have to think about this.
And I like too wild.
Yeah, no, I love this. So I will share it with you with my baby voice. Okay, so I just immediately thought celebrity names. So it was
right now you're supposed to be talking in baby voice.
Like baby Siri. Baby Siri, she's so cute. She's Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. Baby Siri.
Did they name her that before Siri was a thing or after Siri was a thing?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. No, I think that was before because she's weird. She's 13 apparently, people. I remember the People magazine cover that she was on 13 years ago. I was like,
yes.
13?
That is bad. We're very old. Oh, man.
I know. I think in my head that I'm like 15 years old.
Right?
Yeah.
Seriously. There was this really funny video on Instagram for a long time about baby names. Did you see it where the guy he was pretending to be a doctor delivering babies, and every time the name would get a little bit worse and a little bit worse and a little bit worse. And at the end he was like, oh no, you don't even love this baby.
Yeah.
It was like a full sentence by the end of it. It was like last Tuesday we had pizza or something like that. It was really funny. And he was like, no. And he throws the pretend baby in the air and walks out. Like, it was really funny.
Yes, people are really creative. What about you?
Oh, okay. So I think just the worst baby name in the whole wide world is Northwest. Yes, it is. That's the word.
You did it 10 times better than I can't do accents.
You did great. Is it technically an accent? It is now.
Is it? I don't know. Big talk.
Listeners, if you send us a video of yourself answering this question in Baby Talk, we will play it on the next episode.
Send us stuff. Send us pictures. Send us stuff. We love doing shout outs and connecting with our humblebees. Please send us stuff. Please.
So if you send us pictures, if you order any of our like shirts and you send us pictures, and you send us pictures of your Christmas or your New Year's, or answering these questions, or Baby Talk, or really pretty much anything, we're gonna totally put that on air.
Yeah, and give you a shout out. Tag us in it.
Yeah, so let us see your fur babies too. Like Becca's got her fur baby. Clementine's been on all over the place. Like, send us your fur babies. They can go on here too.
Yes.
We love them. Do you have a riddle for today?
I don't have a riddle.
Are we going to do riddles? Like, we got to think of something different. We got to totally
Okay. Listeners, what do you want? A riddle? Do you want a question? What do you guys want at the end that's shenanigans related?
Yeah, like a knock-knock joke. Let us know.
Yeah.
Important. That's it then for today.
That's it.
We love you, Humblebees. We hope that you have a really great week.
And a great year. Happy New Year. 2020.
Happy New Year. Bye, Humblebees.
Bye, guys. Love ya.
Thanks for listening, Humblebees. This is Tulips and Honey. Over now.
I think that diamond still needs a little more polish.
Yeah.